Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to be an interesting one because when I initially saw this story break, I thought that it's a nothing burger because I thought that this was public knowledge and apparently it was not. It's only after 14 people within the Democratic Alliance reached out to me asking me to make a story about this, to expose this, is when I went, okay. And when they explained to me why this is such a big story and what I will explain in this video, it made sense to me to make this video because the easiest thing to do is when I talk about anything that's got to do with the DA, then people will say, "Oh, he's just trying to get something back at them." But when these people that are still within the party reached out to me, I understood that it came from a point of frustration, disappointment, and they obviously don't want to raise it themselves for fear of victimization. So I thought, let me do it. Why not? So don't worry. To the people that reached out to me, I won't throw you under the bus. I won't mention your name. We know what the senior DA leadership does to people that they dislike or that is an inconvenience for them. I'm a perfect example of that. But once they explained to me why this is problematic, I thought, yeah, I think this is worthy of a video. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about 7 days ago, it came out that the DA every single month is taking 300,000 Rand out of the party's money that they get from taxpayers because parties get allocated funds from the government, but also then from donors to the party. 300,000 Rand of that is paid as top-ups to certain political individuals within the Democratic Alliance. Now, these individuals that reached out to me range from members of parliament to members of the provincial legislature to councillors. The overwhelming majority of the people that complained to me were councillors, and then a couple of staff members that is based in, can I say this? Yeah, Gauteng and the Western Cape. And it is just shocking to see how not a lot of people were aware that this was taking place in the DA. The DA has now come out and said, oh, this is not a secret, but they initially said that they can't verify the document that had Dion George's signature at the bottom, and then they will do an investigation. But if it was so blatantly obvious for everybody, then why did they have to fact check it? Why didn't they just come out and say, yeah, this is what we do? Because my initial reaction was, the party can do with its money whatever it wants to. If they want to give Helen Zille a bonus because she said something clicky, of course, it's their issue. It's not my issue as somebody that's not part of the party. But like I said, people within the party are really upset. And I think that is the point of this video, is that the DA is not now only causing voters that would have voted for them to not vote for them because of their shenanigans in the GNU. But even within the DA, they are causing a lot of divide within the organization because some are just more important than others. And that doesn't really bode well for them and what they want to achieve with the Federal Congress next month, and then also the election later this year. I made a video about this a couple of months ago where somebody that came over from the ANC and recently joined the party has, I think, 8 or 9 billboards up in the Western Cape, in Cape Town. And how should the other aspirant candidates feel when one of the candidates that recently joined the DA suddenly has all this exposure and party support, where other councillors that have been working with the party for years don't get 1 billboard, but this person gets 8 billboards. So there's a lot of animosity within the organization, and you can see this a mile away if you actually speak to people in private on how they feel about what's going on within the DA. But in case you don't know the whole story, let me just give you a very brief refresher over here. A leaked report revealed the DA spends over 305,000 Rand monthly supplementing the salaries of senior leaders and public representatives, sparking allegations of double dipping and ethical violations. Key figures including Agricultural Minister John Steenhuisen, of course, wherever there's a controversy, John Steenhuisen's there, right? And Deputy Finance Minister Ashor Sharupan receive top-ups alongside government pay, prompting investigations. Now, key details of the scandal, and these are the people over here. So, Celia Brink is receiving a top-up of 62,386 Rand per month. Now, just for context, his salary a month from being a councillor for the city of Tshwane is roughly 40 to 45,000 Rand a month. So the DA is paying him far more than what he earns as a councillor. So now my question is to all the other councillors that is in Tshwane, how should they feel knowing that this guy is doing exactly the same job that they are doing, but he is getting an extra 62,000 Rand a month? Now, yeah, you can argue he would have been a MP, but he chose to stay as, the mayoral candidate for Tshwane. But then in that case, like you need to make your decision and live with it. Not everybody gets the opportunity to go, oh, I'll stay if I'm the mayor, but if I'm not the mayor, then you guys need to top up my salary. I mean, are you there for the money or are you there because you really care about what you want to do? That is the question. And then you've got Ashaw, who receives 190,000 Rand a month as the deputy minister. But yet, that's also not enough for him, so he gets paid an extra 50,000 Rand from the DA. I mean, at what point does these amounts just get absurd? Like who in their lives can spend over 190,000 Rand a month and then you still complain about it and you want more? And then the party gives you an extra 50,000 Rand. And then if you look at the next one, Matthew Cuthbert, who is an MP, he also gets 110,000 Rand per month, and his top up, as you can see here, is 50,000 Rand per month. Once again, like, when does greed come into the equation here? Now, Van der Horn is also a member of parliament, so he gets 110,000 Rand per month, and then he gets a top up of 50,000 Rand per month. I wonder what the other MPs are thinking with regards to this. You've got Christopher Pappas, who is the mayor of Umgeni. He gets paid 76,000 Rand per month, and then his top up is 44,000 Rand per month. And then, John Steenhuisen, hey, the Minister of Agriculture, he gets paid 232,000 Rand per month. And then he goes, no, that's not enough. So he gets an additional 40,000 Rand per month because he is the leader of the party. I mean, at some point, you just have to go, hey guys, I get paid enough. Thank you very much. Use that money and donate it. And then, the funny part here is John Steenhuisen that earns 232,000 Rand a month plus the additional 40,000 Rand a month, still couldn't pay his credit cards and still abused the company card of the Democratic Alliance. I mean, he got a default order against him for not settling his debt with this amount of money that he's earning. Make it make sense. And then George Michalakis, who is the DA's chief whip, he gets paid 110,000 Rand per month as a member of parliament, and then they top him up 9,000 Rand per month. So it looks like the most honest person here out of the bunch is George Michalakis, a mere additional 9,000 Rand on top of his 110,000 Rand per month. Now, as I've stated, the DA can do with their money whatever they want. It's none of my business. I don't care. I don't vote for them. I'm not a member of their organization anymore. But the problem is that so many people within the organization is completely taken aback that these individuals that proclaimed that they are staying, many of these individuals, from what I've heard, from what they've told me, from MP to a councillor, said that no, they choose to stay because it's for the greater good. But then behind the scenes, they went and negotiated for an increase. We've got Celia Brink, that's a perfect example. Many people within his caucus stated that he said he's remaining because he cares about Tshwane and he wants to see it improved, and hopefully if he becomes the mayor, then he can step in. But now it comes out that he's getting a beautiful top-up of 62,000 Rand a month. So there's a lot of people within the various caucuses in the DA that is bitterly disappointed. But clearly, this is causing internal ruckus and it's causing an internal divide because there are other councillors that are arguing that they work harder than Celia Brink and they don't get the benefit of earning an additional 62,000 Rand. And then there are members of parliament that is looking at this now going, well, I sit on 3 committees instead of the usual 1 or 2. And now, I don't get a benefit. I don't get an increase. This is all just a buddy-buddy system. So this is very problematic for the Democratic Alliance because they have, for the last, I would say, year and a half, been under the microscope for the way in which they told their voters they're going to stand up against this and then they don't. And then we've got the John Steenhuisen saga with what he said in the White House. We've got him pretty much telling farmers what they should and should not do as if he's the expert on farming. Of course, the vaccine for the foot and mouth disease outbreak is another train wreck. The credit card situation, the political party card situation. So all of these things are just adding up from the outside, and it didn't really affect the DA internally, but the sheer amount of people that over the last 7 days reached out to me that's from the DA saying that this is unacceptable, knowing that I'm not part of the organization anymore, and knowing that, they know that I was going to expose this, clearly just illustrates how unhappy people within the DA are themselves. And of course, we know that there are even rules within the DA that you are not allowed to speak negatively about the organization. And this is why you won't see councillors or MPs or MPLs speaking out against this. But from what they told me, most caucuses that they are a part of are bitterly disappointed with the DA, but also at a point now where they feel that they can't trust the leadership, they can't trust the executive. And because a lot of these leaders are standing to, once again, to be re-elected in the same positions that they are in now, this is just then a continuation of what has been going on. So all I can tell you from what I've heard from these my former colleagues and current friends that I'm still friends with, it's just that they're not happy. So the DA, as much as they are trying to put on this very, we are growing and we are united type of ethos, things aren't that kosher at home. And there are a lot of people internally that has shown how disappointed they are, but because of the fear of backlash from the leadership within the party, they're not allowed to speak out. And that has shown me that a lot has changed since I was kicked out of the DA about 2 years ago now. Well, almost 2 years. In the sense that you can't even speak freely within the organization anymore because of this fear that the leadership will deal with you. And that is clearly illustrated by how many people reached out to me to ask me to please make a video on this. So here's the video, and you can do with it whatever you want. I mean, my take on it is it's the DA's money. They can do with it whatever they want. But if I was a hard-working councillor or a hard-working member of the provincial legislature or an MP or a deputy minister or a minister, and I saw my colleague that does exactly the same work I do get paid extra by the party, yeah, I would be disappointed. I would be upset, and I would question, whether or not the value that I bring to the organization isn't good enough for them because they are willing to pay somebody else a lot of extra money and not to me, or not even tell me that they are paying somebody else this amount of money. But I would love to know what your thoughts are on this, whether you are a DA voter or not. Tell me whether you think that this is fair. Tell me whether or not you would like an actual investigation with regards to this, because as the DA states, it's their money, but a portion of it does come from the taxpayers, ultimately. Every single party has allocated a specific amount of funding based on the election results. So unless they've kept the books separate, you could argue that they are using taxpayers' money to compensate some of the DA individuals that was on that list. So I would like to know what your thoughts are on this. Like I said, I'm not in the organization anymore. I couldn't give two shits. But there are some of my friends and former colleagues that have raised this issue. And I would like to get your thoughts. Do you think it's fair? Do you think this needs to be investigated? Or do you think that this is a nothing burger and they can do whatever they want? Let me know in the comments below. But that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Smash the like button. Share this video far and wide. Don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything. All you need to do is just click that subscribe button below. However, if you'd like to support this channel financially, you can give a super thanks by looking for the $ below and then click it and choose an amount and submit, and thank you very much for that. Or you can become a member with the perks that comes with, and you can see the perks by clicking the join button below, and that'll cost you 39.99 Rand a month, and that is in support of me and this channel, and it'll be greatly appreciated. And that's all I gotta say, everybody. Till later, cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my